Welcome to this week's Houston Newsmakers Extra. Dr. Christian Eberhart, who is the Director of Religious Studies, University of Houston. We've been talking about this phenomena. We saw Las Vegas, tremendous loss of life, and there were a lot of questions from people about where's God at a time like this? And then there's also this disconnect sometimes between people of faith as it relates to politics. The laws in this country are very permissive as it relates to guns, Second Amendment rights. But we also have people who are very faithful, religious. Somehow or another, they don't seem to work together. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand what you mean. Statistics are very clear about a unique situation in the United States, and that is that United States folks own more guns than anybody else on the earth, basically. The United States have just a bit more than 4% of the world's population. However, almost half of the firearms in the entire world are in the United States. You know, and then there's also the other observation that there's a lot more mass shootings in the United States. So, you know, I'm not a mathematician, I'm not somebody who's an expert in statistics, but that the two are related seems to be pretty clear. So, you know, one response would be, but that's of course for politicians to decide, is to recognize the connection between the abundance of firearms and semi-automatic and fully automatic firearms in United States households and say, well, that is in fact connected, and you know, actually apply stricter gun laws. Other statistics show that wherever countries have stricter gun laws, of course, the rate of firearm-related death goes down dramatically. You
said, though, that people who want to say one is a law, we shouldn't mix faith and laws together, but the Bibles, if you've described it, the Bible, the Old Testament, New Testament, Old Testament specifically, is a book of laws, is it not?
Is a book of law, indeed. So the Hebrew Bible that Christians call the Old Testament, in its very core, which is the Torah, and Christians might call it Pentateuch, has actually the legal framework or legal constitution for the people of Israel. You know, it's not just about how to do worship. Well, that is in there too, but it also says, well, these are the laws for what you should do and what you have to do for a good life in this in the Promised Land. So, you know, at that point, religion and politics or legal framework actually really come together. You have that in the religious writings of Israel.
How can faith play a positive role at a time like this when so many people have been killed and the images are so graphic? How do you suggest to your students that faith plays a role positively in this kind of situation?
Right. Well, first I would say that faith and religion comes in to really help people articulate their grief, their sadness, when all other attempts to explain what happened really fail, especially in this situation, you know, where we can't just easily say, well, there was a religious extremist, it was a guy like me, basically, just a few years older, and that happens. You know, when all these other attempts to find the explanation fail, that is when faith can help to articulate grief and anger,